Hello and thanks for joining School of the American Rifle. Wanted to showcase a few new products that Midwest Industries donated to School of the American Rifle. We're not being paid to promote these, but like I said, these were given to us. These are the new Midwest Industries lower receiver block. They also donated two of the SR25 versions of the lower receiver block, two of their professional armorer's wrenches, and one of their 308 URR rods. You can see we've already put it to use. We've already owned a couple of these. I'll move over here. So these aren't new to us. We've been using these in the classes for several months now, and I'm actually a pretty big fan of these. I'll go into why. Not because they were given to us, but the main purpose of the video is to showcase these. Pretty little tool. Now there are other jigs on the market that are somewhat similar to this. Wheeler makes one that is slightly similar. I'll bring it over here. The opposing side is what makes it different though. So what's neat about this side, whether it be the Wheeler or the Midwest, is that you can put the pivot pin is not installed, the tabs in like this, and then you have a nice level of support to put your bolt catch in. And like I said, the Wheeler does the same thing. The other portion of this jig allows you to lay the lower receiver in here like so, and it supports the ear right here, so when you're putting your trigger guard in, you lessen the likelihood of damaging or breaking one of these ears off. So great jig for that purpose. Like I said, the Wheeler does the same thing. The opposing side of the Wheeler is mainly set up for installing the forward assist and installing the taper pins for the front sight base. Not really a fan of this setup for the front sight taper pins. I have an older video that discusses how I remove the taper pins on a front sight base. They do add this little provision for the charging handle roll pin or split pin, but this is something that most people do not mess with or service, so not sure of the benefit of having this on this older Wheeler device. The forward assist tool is somewhat useful, assuming you don't have a low profile button. But the topic of the video is the Midwest version. So one little neat addition is the magwell block that's built into it. You can grab this fixture in a vise. You can put the lower receiver onto the magazine well block, and it does have a little bit of slot, but if you have your catch installed, it will lock down. But I like it for this feature here because if you're doing work on your bench, you have a little spot to put your small parts. Some people will put one of those magnetic dishes on their bench, and the problem with that, if you throw items into it, they can become magnetized, where this will not allow that. The opposing side is my favorite feature of this jig though, and it's their gas block fixture. There is lots of gas block / gas tube fixtures on the market that allow you to install your gas tube onto the gas block. But what I like about this one is it's very universal. Some of the jigs on the market, some of the fixtures on the market are very limited on the type of gas block you can use in their fixture. Where this one, it's really long across the surface here, so it doesn't matter the dimensions of the gas block, assuming it is a true low profile gas block. It will probably work. We haven't run into one yet that doesn't, but it will probably work in this setup, where some don't allow that universal work to be done with their jig. So big fan of the gas block fixture feature on this. They do mention that it has parallel jaws for vise clamping, and they did drill it so you can actually permanently affix it to a work surface if you work in maybe a more professional or production environment perhaps. I think I hit on all the points, but like I said, they gave us 5 of them. We're going to put these to hard use in the classes. If we have any problems with it, we'll report back to Midwest Industries with what we found, but I like them. Basically, the SR25 is just the big brother version of the standard one. Not as many students come through the classes with large frame ARs, but when they do, they'll be put to use, and that's also why they sent us the 308 URR. You've probably seen me talk ad nauseum about how I like these tools. I get no benefit or kickback for promoting these, but this is my favorite upper receiver tool, whether it's for the large frame 308 or for the standard AR-15 type. Can't really say much more positive about it. The Midwest wrenches, what I like about these is they thought through what most people overlook. And one of the most overlooked areas is offset with the torque wrench adapter area. So let's talk about this Tapco wrench. This is not in production anymore. But the distance between the castle nut and the torque wrench, the 1/2-inch adapter, is minimal. So if you run your torque wrench in line this way, you don't add much change to your actual torque wrench setting. And the proper way would be to tighten the item with the torque wrench at 90 degrees. And that is correct. But sometimes when you do the torque wrench at 90 degrees, it makes it a little more difficult to keep the tool stabilized when you're trying to tighten something, especially when you go to higher torque values. Where things get really strange is if you try to use the torque wrench in line, let's say with this barrel nut, you're about 4 inches offset, so you're changing the torque that your wrench is set to pretty dramatically the more the distance is from here to here. And Midwest thought this out. They put the 1/2-inch drive adapter very close to the castle nut, very close to the muzzle device, very close to the A1, A2 for the receiver extension, and very close to the barrel nut. So with this tool, you could, without doing any type of angle changes or math corrections with your torque wrench, just run it in line, which is easier for most people to do. Now again, you're probably going to get people in the comments that are going to argue about whether or not inline or 90 degrees is correct. We do go into great detail in our classes about the pros and cons, the different methods, and how you can run into getting the wrong values, possibly breaking items if you're using too much force. But this is one of the things that I think Midwest thought out very, very well when they designed this wrench. It has a hammer on it. They're very well thought out. It has a bottle opener if you're drinking some carbonated beverages when you're working on your guns. But very well thought out. We now have 4 of them at the shop. We owned 2 before they donated 2, so we need 1 more to put 1 at every bench, which we'll purchase 1 more. Tapco is still one of my favorite wrenches, but no longer in production. So the Midwest is taking a first seat at the moment, unless somebody comes out with something that I favor better. So, new items from Midwest. Maybe they might be useful for you. Hope you found this video educational. Thanks for watching.